That's so.
Is that our going
Now, so that's a picture of your father.
On the railway, that's the guy on the railway he had. He was a guard on the railway.
A guard on the
railway.
railway.
The trains. The trains used to go up. We lived in Ballamac, you see, Ballamac Row.
Ballamac Row.
Ballamac Row.
Now,
yes.
is there ruins or anything left?
I was over there last week. I brought my brother to see it, and there's no ruins at the house at all.
Is there even a wall or anything?
There's not a wall at all.
Oh, right,
you go in there. You would go in there. The road. There's a road going by it now.
Right, okay.
Yes.
I'd probably go up and just get an idea of roughly where it is myself.
Well, I could bring you up anyway.
Oh, well, not today anyway. No, not
today. No, but you go in Ballamac Lane.
Yes.
And you go on over to the turn on and go on ahead on over to nearly the end of it. And then Kyo's lives up there and Halls lives in Ballamac. But we lived, they are gone, the Kyo's are living in it now, but we lived down in a railway house. The railway house is gone.
It's gone. And you were over there recently?
I was over last week. My brother was up from Waterford.
Right.
And funny, we were over last week in it.
And your brother's name?
Jerry, the youngest of the family.
The youngest of the family.
The youngest of the family.
Now, I have a guy that contacted me via he's only about my age.
Yeah.
But he was saying that an uncle of his, or could be a great uncle, I'm not too sure,
yes.
was visiting now, I don't know where from, only last week.
Yes.
And mentioned this area to him, and how mentioned Harry.
Yes.
And a family of 14.
14 of us. Do you
14,
want to know their names?
Have you got names of them all?
Betty, Sean, Seamus, Harry, Hugh, Patsy, Nan, Tony, Sadie, Helen, Eamon, Peggy, Kathleen and Gerard. That was all in rotation.
That's all in rotation.
Betty
right.
was the eldest.
Now this fella's name in Dublin, his mother is Mary McGuinness.
Mary McGuinness.
Yeah.
Oh, there could be...
Live out of a Cabra, I think.
That's right. My brother lived in Cabra.
Right.
Seamus, and he had a big family.
Seamus, right.
Yes, he lived in
right.
Cabra.
Ah, okay.
Seamus, he's dead too, and I think the wife's dead, and it could be some of their children.
Okay.
See, I haven't been in touch with them. We used to go up and visit them long.
Would you have an idea, like, of the 14, I mean, where they all went to, or anything
now,
like
there's a lot of, a few of them dead now.
Right.
Betty's married. Betty's still alive.
Where would Betty be now?
Betty lives in Derry Cramp.
Okay,
In Derry Camp.
Right.
I visit her every Tuesday and Friday. I go up to visit her every Tuesday. Betty, but there's Sean, Seamus, Harry, Q and Patsy dead.
Okay.
And there's Jerry and Eamon in there in Waterford. There in Waterford. There in Waterford.
And did any of them go far afield from Ireland, or?
They did. Oh God, I have a sister in America, Peggy.
Peggy's in America.
In Pawtucket. She lives in Pawtucket in America, Peggy.
Oh,
she married John Corn, a man from Corla. He's dead now.
Okay.
She's still alive. Peggy's still alive now. Yes.
And according to this fella called Darren,
yeah,
his uncle said that your mother would have died very the last child was only about 3 months old or something like that.
She died at the birth of the last child.
Right.
And she was a dressmaker, and she done all those. She made those. She made those for confirmation.
Very good. Okay.
She was a dressmaker.
A dressmaker.
Yes. And she died at the birth of. I just remember her now. Do you know? I can remember her coming home from hospital, and I remember the child. We reared him for a while. We kept him until our father died.
3 years later.
3 years later.
Do you mind me asking what did he pass away on?
Oh, he died from a stroke.
Oh, okay.
And I think it must have been birth that happened to my mother now. She died after the birth. Right. We don't know much about it. He died from a stroke.
What age of a man would he have been?
Oh God, he was only in his late 40s.
Only late 40s?
Late 40s. They must have been married very young now, you know.
And how long would he have been working in the railway now?
Oh
would
God,
that have been a
he
job?
was working in the railway for years and years. Okay. And the trains used to go up and down our house. And he was a guard on that train going up, Lord of mercy on him. And when the train would go up, you had to watch it to see if there was a special coming after it. You see another train, not the usual trains, and there'd be a red light like that on the back of it if there was a special coming after it, and it was a green light if there was nothing coming.
Right.
Coming up from, that'd be from maybe Belfast to Cavan or going on ahead further. And Lord have mercy on him, he used to make sure that he'd scold us if we weren't out to see was that a red thing or a green one on there. Yes, we had to watch that to see, because it'd be coming up after it sometime.
Would there be many trains?
Oh, yes.
What would you get a day like?
Oh God, there was an awful lot of trains up and down. Oh, an awful lot.
More goods trains?
Oh, goods trains. And then there was gates then as we were going into our house. There was a big gate on, and there was a gate on now going into Kyo's, you know where Kyo's up to the other place. And there was 3 big gates, and we had to open those gates to let the people in through, because they couldn't go through over the railway in case there'd be trains coming. We had to open those gates for them and close them after them.
And the reason the railway just all shut down is because of roads and transport?
Oh, there was nothing else, only the trains really that time.
Right.
Oh,
right.
yes, oh yes. And my brother Q walked on the railway too. He walked on the railway.
Okay.
He was in Jonas and he walked on the railway. He's dead too.
And of the 14, there's no such thing as a photo of all of you?
No,
okay.
It's not funny. No
That's
snapper for a mother. No snapper for a mother. No, we never.
Because that's a big family.
And I can remember now, Lord of mercy, and I know there was a snap taken over now. I was only 9 when I come to the bridge. And I remember a snap taking a car on the railway out from us. It could have been sometime after that my last brother Jerry was born.
And come here, was there ever even a snap of the railway house? Because railway houses were nice looking houses.
They were lovely. They may have been longer, but you see, when we left the house, we had.
Yeah.
And you see, my sister, poor Betty, you know, she was after being in Belfast working, and she'd have come up and mind us. You see, there was an awful lot of stuff that we never got.
Yeah.
And my poor mother was a dressmaker.
Yeah.
And she had her machine and all.
A whole lot.
And all was gone.
And come here, I mean, as I said, your father would have died, as I said, three years after. I mean, you all then just got dispersed into relations' houses and things like that, or you?
They see, there was some of them working. So Mrs. McPhillips down here in Butler's Bridge had no girls; they were all boys. Mm-hmm. Now I knew your granny and grandfather so well. Mrs. McPhillips and us used to go down.
Well, I know Dad mentioned he remembers the attached house. There used to be a attached house there.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, my dad mentioned that.
Yes,
all right,
Mrs. McPhillips had no girls. So she come up. I come to McPhillips's in about, I suppose, 1948.
Right.
1948, I suppose. No, it'd be before that. I suppose it would. Oh God, it'd be before that. I went to school in Kilbeogue. No, we went to school in Kilbeogue. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, it's a big family.
Oh, it was a big family. 14 left, and poor Betty had to come back from Belfast then to look after us. Betty wasn't able, she wasn't able to look after us then when our father died. She couldn't look after us. No, she couldn't look after us. No.
And as a schooling and everything, you went to Kilbeogue?
Kilbeogue School, and I still went to Kilbeogue School from the bridge.
Right.
I went back, I still went up to it.
And I'm just kind of think, I mean, when did the railway stopped when anyway?
Oh, it was a good while after now.
It would have been in the late
Phil
50s.
worked on the railways, you see, too.
Right.
Phil worked on the railway.
Phil?
My husband.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
So, no, I remember I was here before, actually.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And we were thinking, there was a picture of the railway or something, wasn't
there?
There
was, I suppose,
can't remember now. I know there was something.
Yes. Oh, Phil worked on the railway for years.
And Sean Brown over there.
And Sean Brown, but Phil was longer on it than Sean Brown.
Right.
Phil was great with the fiddle. He got to read about him there now. That was the thing that was in the celt after he died.
Well, I tell you, I'm going to take a snap at that, as I said, because
yes, you couldn't read it.
It's the kind of information. This lad would be interested in it as well. You see, so once I get it on the camera, he'll be able to see it. I can send it up.
So you've all
exactly.
That's yes.
That's interesting.
Phil was great. fiddle player, and only they had money either to put him forward, he'd have won a whole lot of...
What are the chances there's somebody out there that might have done a recording of it or anything like that?
No.
Nobody would ever
not at all.
put it on tape or nothing?
No, not in that time. He went to Farrell's now. You know the Farrell's here now?
Yes.
Their grandfather taught
Right.
him the fiddle. Now he's good. I think Sean has the fiddle out there now. I think Sean has the
It's
fiddle.
nice to even get a picture of it.
I think I must ask Sean, has he it now? Must ask Sean now. I have a feeling he has.
But even, you know, like, as I say, they would have been doing kind of sessions and things like that with the fiddle and things like that. Somebody would have probably recorded something somewhere along the way.
No, it wasn't funny. Never. No, Mr. Farrell, there was a Farrell man taught him. Oh, he was good. Now he got scholarships and all. Now you know. But he couldn't like that. They hadn't the mother hadn't the poor money to send him, you know, further ahead.
And the house that you lived up on the railway, I mean, how long would you have lived there anyway? How long?
Oh, I'd say we'd have been there for a good few years. Oh God, we'd been there.
10 years or something.
Oh God, we would have been there maybe more.
Like you were born in that. I mean,
a lot of us. I'd say I was born there.
I mean, your father. Would he have been? Where would he have been before that? Or?
Ballybay. He come from Ballybay.
Okay.
He come from Ballybay, and then in kind of him being there on the railway. That's how we got the railway house when we come from Ballybay. Yeah.
And where would your mother have come from?
Ballybay too.
As well.
Yes, Ballybay. Both of them come from Ballybay.
Now,
yes.
Where did I put my little piece of paper? Oh, here it is. Here, yeah. The McGuinness family, he was saying, right, Evelyn Cassidy, is she married, or does that name ring a bell
Cassidy,
with you?
No.
Would she have married Seamus McGuinness?
Yes, Seamus McGuinness, that was my brother.
Again...
Well, that could be his wife,
could be.
Lord of Mercy and the man. Evelyn was his wife, Evelyn.
Well, that's Evelyn Cassidy.
Evelyn, that was her, Evelyn. That was Evelyn.
Evelyn,
yes.
So.
Yes.
Sorry, where was Seamus living?
In Dublin.
In Dublin.
Yes.
Okay, and Evelyn, you don't know where Evelyn came from?
I think she was a Dublin girl.
A Dublin girl too.
I have a feeling now she was Dublin.
Okay. But
I'm thinking now there could have been pictures, but as I say, when our house was broken up, you see, there was an awful lot of stuff. If I had been older, I would have, but poor Betty wasn't able to cope, you know. There was I think there may have been, people got stuff and then there may have been an auction and stole, you see, the house was left vacant, you see. Everyone was gone out of it now, you know. But I can picture the house well. There was a paling around it to save us from going out. We weren't allowed out. Yeah. We had to stay inside of that paling. You see, the paling was just along the railway track and down that side and down this side. And there was a piece of ground now down the way that my father, Lord of Mercy, used to set potatoes and things, and cabbage and all there now.
But do you know what's there at the moment? I know there's no ruins. What is there? Is it just a field?
It's just field, and they're all going up by it. You know, you should go in again and go in and have a look at it now.
But whose house would be? I'd imagine. But again, you know, the whole railway end of things. I mean, they would have probably as they built all the railway houses.
No, another thing now. There was a halt up from our place. A halt. Right. Just beside Loretta, and the nuns used to go, that's the way the nuns used to travel. They used to come by train.
Okay.
The halt, and Loretta was small at that time, and in the winter time we used to have to go up and light the lamps on the halt for them, for the nuns.
What, a halt?
A halt. It was just a stop for the train, and there was a halt they called it.
Just like a rest point.
Loretta Halt.
Okay.
That's what it was called, Loretta Halt. And you see, Loretta was just down from it. You know, when you go for the nuns used to go down to it, and we used to have to go up and light the lamps there in the winter time. Lord of Mercy, my father would go. You see, when he'd come up on the train, he'd know whether the lamps were lit or not.
Right.
If he was on the late shift, he used to have to go 1 week on an early shift and the next week on a late shift, and those had to be there for the train to stop for the nuns. Yes. And
what all the family, different brothers and sisters, and what other sort of jobs did they take up, or what sort of occupations would have been involved in?
Q worked on the railway. My brother
Yeah.
Q was the only one that worked on the railway. But then my mother had 2 uncles in Sharcock, the Duffy brothers.
Okay.
Never heard of the Duffy? No, the Duffy brothers. They were brothers in me mother's, Lord imagine them. And they took 2 of them each, and they served their time to the trade. They had shops.
Right.
They had shops now.
Okay, yeah.
And there's one of them only after, a cousin of ours, only after Dame Pablo. And the 2 brothers had the 2 shops together, Uncle Curie and Uncle Jim.
Okay.
Uncle Curie and Uncle
Up in
Jim.
Sharcock?
In Sharcock, yes, the 2 shops together. But the shops are there, the shops are supermarkets now.
Oh, okay.
And the poor Pablo, my cousin died there not long ago. Out of one of the shops, there's only his wife now in the shop.
Okay.
They own the shop.
And was there any of the 14 of you, any of you as well musicians, or any
No.
players of
Not
fiddles and
no,
the
I
like?
don't think, no. Phil was the only man that played, no.
Okay.
I don't think any of them would be musical now. It would be musical.
Okay.